I think in that space, people get hung up on cuss words, which to me, I refuse to live in that world.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I got to worry about.
Yeah. And people get mad at me because a lot of times I'll tell people like, it's going to sound real bad.
Ruslan.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I feel like that the scene, like I've never called myself in any type of, I don't even like the word rapper. I just like the word artist, So, I think in that space, people get hung up on cuss words, which to me is laughable because I feel like a cuss word's a curse word. I feel like you don't need to say the F word to curse somebody, and I even feel like I don't want to cuss here, but the word, the B word is even just a new term that came in like the 1800s. I have this theory that, cursing somebody isn't a word. It's what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I look at a child who's growing up and I'm their parent and I say, you're never going to be anything. You're never going to be anything. You're never going to amount to anything. You're never going to create anything that's of value. You hold no value in this world. You're cursing that child.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I think that's what cursing means. Not I just randomly say an F word.
Yeah. Yeah. We just had this conversation with Tim Ross yesterday because they like let something slide in a pod and it caught a bunch of backlash.
Right.
I agree with you. I think what you're defining is exactly it. And I'll give you kind of two ways that I think about it. One, you're right in that Ephesians says, let nothing unwholesome come out of your mouth, but that which is edifying and building up people. Let nothing unwholesome come out of your mouth. Wow. So that's kind of what you're getting at. Jesus said we'll give an account for every word that comes out of our mouth. So that's even like crazy. So I think the beautiful part about the gospel is that we look at it and we're trying to like grade humanity on a curve.
Right.
We're like, well, at least I ain't Hitler.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, at least I ain't a pedophile. Like, where do we do that? We play that game.
Right.
Right. Well, at least I'm not. Right.
Right.
But Jesus comes and goes, man, if you've lusted after a woman in your heart, you've committed adultery.
Right.
If you've hated your brother, you've committed murder. Right.
Wow.
And then again, every word. We talking about the F word and the B. Right. No.
These are new terms, like recent terms.
Anything that comes out of your mouth, you're going to have to give an account. Let nothing unwholesome come out. So I think the beautiful part about the gospel is that God's standard is actually way higher than like, don't be Hitler.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, don't be that. Don't be. No, it's actually way higher. And the beautiful part about the gospel is that Jesus comes and deals with all of it and lives the life we couldn't live, dies the death we should have died on the cross in our place, and then goes, place your faith in me.
Right.
Oh, and I'll give you a new heart and new desires and the things you used to hate, now you love. I used to hate church and reading the Bible. Like, these were not friendly things. And now I love it. And the things I used to love, sin, the world, all these things. Now I'm like, ugh, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want nothing to do with these things.
Wow.
And so I think that's the beautiful part about all of it is actually, the standard is actually way higher, but the grace is way bigger. The grace is even bigger than we could imagine. And I think people wrestle with that because we want to grade everybody on a curve.
Right.
We always think about somebody that's a little worse than us. Instead of saying, no, just like on our own devices, bro, we're pretty jacked up people, right? Like, we're pretty wicked people. And that's why we need grace. Like, that's why we need the mercy of God. Now, in terms of profanity and my life, so it's like there's that, right? So I don't trip about any of that kind of stuff. In my life, what happened was I put out an album in 2015 called Do For One, and it was like a concept album from the premise of someone who becomes successful and they lose their faith in the process. And it's not necessarily from my point of view, but we had some profanity. We took it out, and I was kind of saying a lot of the same stuff. Like, I said the same thing you said in an interview, right? And it went like super viral in the Christian rap world, and I'm like the cussing Christian rap, you know what I mean? Like, and so I had to think of a couple things like, is this the hill I want to die on? But more importantly, I have my son who was like 1 or 2 at the time. My daughter's 2 now. He's 8 now, and I had to like deal with like, do I want to have to compartmentalize who I am for my family versus how I am on music versus how I am with the boys and how I talk at a UFC fight and a boxing, because now I'm taking my son to go see the fight at the homie's house, right? And I was like, man, I want to be congruent. The root word of integrity is integer, meaning one. I want to be the same person. And so the language aspect is just something that like, man, I don't ever want to be hanging out with Dax or hanging out with Zach. We're having fun. We just being boys, and then I didn't say and say that in front of my son. And it's totally different when your kids do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's totally different when your kids do it. And so that's kind of like here's a simple way to define all that. I know I said a whole lot, so forgive me. The more responsibility you gain, the less freedom you have.
The more responsibility. Agreed.
I am responsible to be the financial provider for my household. That means I do not have the freedom to sleep in late. Right. I am financially responsible, therefore I don't have as much freedom. I am the father of my kid. That means I don't have the same freedom. And the more responsibility I have, I'm okay with letting certain liberties die, because I don't think I need to be defined by those things. And the more I let those things die, the more God continues showing them. And it's a process, man. I'm not going to sit here
and I agree,
like I'm an angel. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I definitely have my issues and I'm wrestling with stuff, but I'm waging war on my sin. To by the grace, again, not my works, but by the grace of God, becoming hopefully more conformed. And people see me, they go, man, you're different than you were a year ago.
Hey, you want to see something crazy? 67% of the people who watch this channel are not subscribed. Do me a quick favor, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you stay up to date on all the videos here on the Blessed God Studios channel. You know what I mean?
I honestly completely wholeheartedly agree. I even say, like, with me, like, I used to cuss more in songs, but now it's like, the dear, I have a lot of songs where I don't cuss, like Dear Alcohol, To Be a Man, those are obviously don't cuss in those songs.
Your top, like when I was looking at your Spotify, your top couple records don't have.
Yeah, they don't have cuss. It's really more of the rap stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like, it's just, to me, it's just, I think it's a topic because it's something that's like palpable.
Yeah.
Like when people are like, though, I don't really know the Christian rap scene or whatever it is, but it's like something you can actually be like, oh, he did that wrong, so I can hold it.
Yes.
Whereas
they could label you. Now they could label you.
Exactly.
And they can dismiss you. And the moment there's a label on you, well, you know what I mean?
That's why I never even just like, I refuse to live in that world.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I got to worry about.
Yeah. And people get mad at me because a lot of times I'll tell people, like, it's going to sound real bad. Like, we don't need more Christian rappers.
Right.
Like, we need more Christians who are going to go and make art.
Right.
And build that relationship with the rapport. And as they are pursuing Jesus, the overflow of that is going to impact their art, and it's going to look different, and it's going to be a journey for them. And that's just as important as, like, let's make music for Christian kids so they have something clean and Christian to listen. Like, that's good too. There's a time and a place for that. But I think we need both. And so I appreciate you being vulnerable about this stuff, man. Like, I think it's super dope for you to even want to come on a channel like this. You know what I mean? And be willing to share this stuff where some people might be like, yo, I don't know about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I like speaking, you know what I mean? I always say, like, I've always felt like I don't have any bad intentions. So it's like, even if I do say some, it's like, oh, I didn't mean to hurt nobody.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, appreciate you, brother. Guys, check out Dax on all platforms. It's Dax. And check out To Be a Man. We're gonna go over to our Patreon exclusive segment. I'm gonna ask Dax two more questions. I'm gonna ask, what is the biggest misconception about him, and what was it like working with Trippie Redd and just all of his relationships in the industry? He's been going crazy, if you guys don't know. So join us over there. All right.
Hey, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see the full extended version of this podcast, be sure to sign up for our Patreon community for only $5 a month. It'll really help us continue contextualizing the gospel using YouTube, media, and podcasting. And in exchange, you will get full unedited versions of the podcast, of our daily after party streams, a discount for our merch store, and exclusive access to our private Discord server. It's only $5 a month. The link for Patreon is in the description of this video, as well as the pinned comment below. Again, hit the link in the description, sign up now, and I'll see you over there, all right? Peace.